Malaysia. It means land of the Malays. But is it really? Aside from the 60% Malay Muslim demographic, there's a significant minority of both Chinese and Indian citizens that makes up nearly 40% of the population. Malaysians of all kinds have found a way to peacefully coexist, combining their land, their food, and their culture to create a rare example of successful multi-ethnic society. In this documentary, I focus on the Muslims of Malaysia's largest city, discovering their fascinating history, witnessing their dedication to Islam, marveling at their stunning masajid, and savoring their mouth-watering cuisine. Welcome to Kuala Lumpur. I arrived in Kuala Lumpur and immediately was hit with a rush of humid tropical air. I was heading to meet with Zain al-Haddad, a Malaysian of Yemeni descent who was helping his father to prepare for the yearly Imam al-Haddad Day. The celebration commemorates Zain's ancestor, the illustrious scholar from Tarim, Yemen, who, along with his followers, played a huge role in spreading Islam in these lands. A surprise guest this year was a world-renowned sheikh from Yemen, Habib Umar, who by Allah's qadr had arrived in town the same day as me. His presence was a huge blessing, electrifying the crowd of thousands and thousands of Malaysian Muslims. After Habib Umar's speech, the crowd recited beautiful poetry written by Imam al-Haddad himself centuries ago, along with other poems about the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. I was hugely impressed by the love and respect that Malaysians had for their spiritual leaders. It was clear to me that these Muslims held the people of knowledge to the highest regard, above all the dunya's celebrities and athletes. My heart warm but belly empty, I visited a food cart right outside the masjid, sharing a table with some curious local kids. The event left me curious to learn more about the story of how Islam found its way to this far corner of the world. I met again with Zain, this time at Mukha Cafe, an eatery, bookshop, and event space that he opened with his business partners in 2012. Nowadays, Zain spends much of his time studying Islam in Tarim, Yemen, but the wisdom he's learning there is inspiring the way Mukha Cafe is growing.
So because part of the idea is community building, so most of the events now are on a frequent basis, on a regular basis. So we have art lessons for like families and kids twice a month, full. It's booked all the time, full. Film club once a month, fast club for anybody that fasts, any type of fasting. Even if you're not Muslim, we give you a free meal once a month. And then there's another lady that does women development programs, so she does programs here as well. Another that does somatic healing, so she does her programs as well. So we don't hold, So that was kind of built upon, and it's encouraged. Like it's not the idea that we do everything. It's good to have more and more people expand and take charge of the space. You know? And some say that Islam came during the time of the companions of Prophet ﷺ, some say after, but it was minor. People of the Malay world were largely practicing Hindus. They were not deep in Hindu tradition, but they were practicing Hindus. It was only beginning 900 years ago that missionaries, scholars from Tarim in Hadramaut, which modern day today is Yemen, they started to travel to Southeast Asia. From the eastern side of Oman, Salalah, that part, the Rabat, there's a port on that side. And they are from the tradition of the Ba'alawi tradition, right? And they traveled, and a good chunk of them became known as the 9 saints, right? It's very well documented, the 9 saints, and they were responsible to convert the Malay world in large numbers into Islam. It was them and their progeny. And they were very casual and subtle about how they did things, as with the Ba'li tradition from then until now. So, for example, there were certain tariqas that was in existence in the Malay world before then, and even after they came, those tariqas still continued, because it wasn't the way of the Ba'li scholars to invite people to join their way or their path or their tariqah or to follow their own customs and traditions. No, they were only concerned with bringing people to Allah and the Messenger. Whatever you want to do beyond that, there's your own nuances, just leave it as that. It was actually a young convert from London that pointed this out to me. Like, there was a blessing why he chose to study in Yemen today. It's my classmate in Arabic. So you could attribute it to two phases. The first phase that were, tiny seeds of Islam being over there, and then afterwards, from 900 years prior until now, those missionaries came generations after generations, frequent travel back and forth. And us here, we're from that similar tradition. So which is why if you go to Yemen, Hadramaut today, you would find not just traces of Hadramaut here in the Malay world, not just Malay, if you're talking Malaysia, various parts of Indonesia, Brunei, Thailand, Singapore. But and it's not colonization, it's not imperialism. They didn't come and bring force Islam to it. If you go to Hadramaut today, you will find traces of the Malay world there. In their diet, in their clothing, in their words. Certain words that exist in Arabic, they use the Malay word over there.
Wow.
So it was a proper exchange that took place over 900 years, right? I can give an example of how culture is altered.
Yeah.
In the Malay world, you have this thing called glutinous rice, especially during Eid, we eat this glutinous rice, where they would take leaves and they would weave these leaves, and they put rice inside and they cook it. And then before you eat it, you have to remove the leaves, and then you put it into like a broth or gravy with a bunch of some veg and maybe some meat. That dish, the glutinous rice, nasi impit is called, used to be round. But nowadays you see it's square and it's hung like that, like a diamond. And the Wali Songo, the 9 saints, taught them, said that, and these words didn't exist in the Malay word, right? Because they were Hindus, they didn't have this word called beginning and end, because Hindus believe in reincarnation. So they said, instead of a round nasi impit, that round glutinous rice that packed, they said make it a diamond shape, and the top is your qibla, and the center is your life, and they gave meaning to it. So that was another thing, that they might alter a few things, bits and pieces, and they brought meaning to it. And those words in Malay are rooted in Arabic, awwal and akhir, the beginning and the end. So many of the language of Malay is largely based on Sanskrit, but also a little bit based on Arabic. Arabic words were only brought into the Malay language to describe meanings that didn't exist prior. What existed prior was retained and continued. So they had the word God, Tuhan. Then they brought the word Allah to make clear what is referred to. And other things. Even if you go in Hadramaut now, when you speak to the scholars or the people who have strong influence in society, even when they speak of the Malay world, they speak with an eye of veneration and respect. So it's not as though here we are Arabs coming to convert you people and be thankful upon us. It isn't that. For example, our teachers say the two features of the people of the Malay world, there's two features in one. The first feature is that Malay people, because there's lots of people from the Malay world today who are studying now, who are learning sacred sciences in Hadramaut now. So the people are very familiar with this culture, modern day as well. They say the first characteristics of the Malay people, they say, and when they say Malay people, they mean as a whole, right? Malay world. Yeah. Which is the first is when they speak, there's jokes interlaced in their speech. So they're always joking. It's natural to lace your conversation with jokes. The second is that their humility is unchallengeable, right? They love watching Malay people when they walk in the front of the majlis or in front of people. Malay people will bend down and put their hand down out of respect and humility, right? As much as Arabs can be humble, they say we don't have this within the Arab culture. There's those two things and one. So what's that one? That extra one? He says, "Oh, they like to take photos." They always got to take photos.
One thing about Kuala Lumpur, it's a food heaven. There was so much I wanted to try. But I decided to begin with Malaysia's national dish, nasi lemak. My guest Adli is a food writer based in KL who loves this dish so much that he started a yearly food festival that judges 30,000 homemade nasi lemaks from around the country.
So this is nasi lemak, our unofficial national dish. The base is rice, it's coconut rice, all right? And it comes with the standard chili paste or sambal, cucumbers, anchovies, and boiled eggs, right? Yeah. Normally it's half a boiled eggs, but here at Monjo they basically do it in full eggs, like one full eggs, which is why I like the place.
This
is squid. This is cuttlefish with cockles in chili paste sauce, or sambal. And this one is our fried chicken, chicken with rendang. It's cooked in coconut curry gravy. Yes. All right. So how you cook this is the reverse of stew. All right. So that's how you make this dish, and it's my favorite is the cuttlefish. This used to be a morning dish. Right. So nasi lemak is a dish that powers Malaysia. It used to be a morning dish, but here in Kuala Lumpur, because we love nasi lemak so much, it started to be served for lunch and then for dinner. So that's why we are having it for dinner.
So people have it now for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Yes, for the breakfast one, normally it's the small version, it's the one that's lined in banana leaf. Oh, right. So it's a grab and go.
Oh, the chicken flavor is really good. Lemongrass, garlic. Why are there crispy anchovies with every nasi lemak?
That is the signature of the dish. Okay. So, for example, sometimes when you've got steaks and you've got the brown sauce, right? For nasi lemak, it is part of the dish for you to actually have crispy anchovies, sliced cucumbers, and also the sambal. We have a food festival. We have a nasi lemak festival in Nektal, all right, where we bring 20 of the best nasi lemak stalls around Malaysia in one spot. We've got 40,000 people eating nasi lemak for 6 hours, and they go through like 70,000 plates. Or something like that.
So, what differentiates each nasi lemak from each other?
Well, each one have different styles. Okay. So the sambal might be different. Okay. Some has great sambal cockles or sambal kerang. Some serve it with fried chicken. So for them, their specialties are not fried chicken. But if you go to other places, they actually serve just the rice, anchovies, cucumbers, sambal with fried chicken. That's a meal by itself. Yeah. Right? So it depends on certain nasi lemaks have different signature dishes that's actually good.
Tell me a little bit about just the halal food scene in general here in Malaysia. People love halal food. You know, you see we're here at it's like late at night after Isha, and this area is full of families enjoying food. This whole street. So tell me about the going out for food scene here in Malaysia.
Malaysia is one of the few countries, or the only country in Asia, where you can get halal food from all over the world here. There's halal Russian, there's halal Kazakhstan, halal Korean, halal KFC, McDonald's, Burger King, A&W's, Wendy's at one time, Popeyes, Pizza Hut, Domino's. It's all halal in Malaysia.
I was anxious about trying durian, the infamous fruit of Southeast Asia. Its scent is said to be so strong that it is officially banned in hotels and public transportation. We tried a cart outside Wanjo in the Kampung Baru neighborhood that serves fresh durian with an Indian-inspired twist.
So the thing is, that's what I mean. Chendol is Indian, it's not Malay.
Oh, okay.
All right. So remember the fusion thing that I was talking
Yeah.
about, where we borrow each other's recipes. So this is what happens. So this is actually chendol durian, but the chendol is basically the dessert, and the topping is the durian.
Okay.
Can you smell the durian?
A little bit.
All right. So you're okay with it? If you're okay with the smell, then you can eat it. The water from the shell. Because the shell will have enzymes that when you drink would neutralize the heatiness of the durian.
Wow.
Balance.
Does every Malaysian like durian, or do some not like?
It's an acquired taste. A lot of Malaysians do love durian, but it's like blue cheese. Some people blue cheese, some people don't. Right? So,
There's no reason people should be hating it this much.
in actual fact, the hate is real for some people. I guess you need to have the genes to love durian. So some have it, some don't. You know, so like I said, alhamdulillah, you have the genes that loves durians. Because if you don't, you really hate it. You can't even smell it from. My brother doesn't like durians. Smell it as well. One of my brothers.
One of your brothers. Yeah. So, are you a little disappointed?
No. It is what it is. Sometimes we just want to annoy him. We just bring one and hide it somewhere. And he goes like, "I smell durian." No one brought durian. Who told you there's durian? There's nobody doing durian. It's under the sofa or somewhere. You're like, "No, I can smell it."
Had it in his car as a prank.
Yeah, that's a great prank, you know. And he'll be pissed off with it for a month. So here in Asia, we love our fruits.
There's so many fruits that we don't have in the West.
Yeah. Same here. I mean, we don't really have strawberries that big and raspberries and berries and all that. So our is more bananas and mangosteens and lychees and durians.
Lychees and rambutan.
Rambutan. So you know about rambutan? Oh, that's great.
Malaysia's multiculturalism began as a hub of trade for the entire region due to the famous Strait of Malacca, where traders from China met traders from India and Yemen. However, during colonization, a new, more entrenched multiculturalism was enforced as the British imported millions of laborers from southern India, as well as China, to work in Malaysian tin mines and rubber plantations. Once independence was reached, there were millions of residents of Indian and Chinese descent who had never known another home. The new government gave full citizenship to all residents, although it was made clear that the land was originally owned by the Malays, and certain land was reserved for Malay people. The government would be overseen by the bloodline of ancient Malay kings, and the country would have the name Malaysia. I was curious how Malaysia has been able to balance this ethnic divide with little to no tension for almost 75 years. I spoke with Yusmadi Yusof, a Malaysian lawyer and politician, to understand how.
Despite we have a majority Muslims, more than 60%. So the question is now, how does the non-Muslim being governed? So non-Muslim, they've been governed by normal, common civil law. But when it comes to the Muslim, their personal matter, especially the family matters, inheritance, they are governed by the Islamic law. So in Malaysia, under the constitution, you have the conventional magistrate court, session court, and court of appeal, and federal court, or previously known as the Supreme Court. But
I'm also curious how, in such a divided society, ethnically, culturally, linguistically, how are you able to achieve social harmony here?
I have to say, we're full of conviction that the Malay society in general, despite they are the majority, they are a very tolerant society. And the question where this attitude comes from, I have to say, is Islam. Islam, because in Malaysia, generally speaking, when you are Malay, you are Muslim. And the very definitions of Malay in the constitution was equated those who practice the Malay practices, and generally speaking, they are practicing Islam. So I have to say, Islam, being the core foundations of the Malay society, makes everyone in this country become so, I would say, receptive, so inclusive. The economic development contributed also to the unifying factors of the society, because everyone have their own fair share of their hard work. So yes, you may see, generally speaking, the ethnic Chinese economically doing much better than any other society, but maybe through political, I would say, political dynamic, and also certain policy of the country will help a lot when it comes to social engineering and social mobility through education. I think it managed to minimize the room for conflicts and everything. So, but having said so, since this country enjoy a good development for the last more than 60 years, considering the new challenges, I think the new leaders of the country, policymakers, have to really be careful, because I'm afraid we are dealing with different kind of challenges now.
The Muslim world doesn't have too many economic powers. Countries are usually dependent on, the West, dependent on the IMF, just like we don't have economic power. And Malaysia is one of the countries that's doing a little better than most. What has Malaysia done since independence? Many Muslim countries, they're also products of independence movements, but they're not doing as well as Malaysia. They haven't progressed as quickly. What has Malaysia done that has separated them from the rest?
Number one, because the foundation of the nation building somehow, for me, was well put in place. For example, the unity among the society was the most important issue which we are taking care of until now. Any form of conflict will be immediately curbed through the rule of law. Number one, which I personally see. Number two, the foundation of education, which I think we inherit a lot from the British colony education infrastructure. Generally speaking, most states in Malaysia has decently good academic institution, whereby it become a place for the developments of the middle class Malaysian. And on top of that, they will come back and somehow manage to lead the society in their own way. Some may join the private sector, some may join the public sectors, some may even, I have to admit, the role of the imam, the role of the priest, pastor in the society is very important, because all this while, I think most of them understand what is the right way to build a society in harmony. And thirdly, I think the model of politics that we have currently, somehow everyone agree the approach is not like the two-party system. Sometimes it may contribute to a very intense fight. It can be zero-sum fight as well. But one thing I see in Malaysia, we are forced to learn to work with each other. Regardless whether the society is a minority society, we treat them as equal importance. For example, the Indian ethnics, they are minority, but I think I can proudly say Malaysia may be the only country in the world where major ethnics, or what you may call major civilization, representation of the ethnics, somehow be given the opportunity where the social interaction is happening in the mainstream. You may see many of them also in the important positions in the judiciary, in the public service, and also in the private sectors. So I think in that sense, it able to minimize the possibility of conflict.
As leaders in Malaysia, where do you see your future alliances in the region? Geopolitically, who are you looking for as inspirations, things like that?
For me, I find that Malaysia has to be effective in dealing with everyone. In other words, we should really confident enough to be a country where everyone will feel comfortable to talk to, because we are the only place in the world, if I can argue, comparatively, where major civilizations are interacting. The Muslim, the Chinese, the Hindu, the Europeans, and the total effect of that interaction make Malaysia become so unique. So in my own words, Malaysia will be able to build a new modern Asian civilization. And that, I think, will be the major contributions to the global civilization, if any. So when someone asks me geopolitically, which country will be your source of reference, I think I have to say every country. So for me, Malaysia, being a small trading nation, we have to be able to trade with everyone. And historically, if we check the history of Malacca, we are the center of trade of the world those days. And Malay were the lingua franca. But nowadays, I think we have to bring back that confidence and, of course, upgrade ourselves with all the relevant competency and make ourselves relevant to all community of the world. Yes, people talk about China, people talk about America, people talk about even Russia, Middle East. For me, I believe whoever come to Malaysia, they may like us, because naturally we are moderate society, we are comfortable with everyone. So the challenge now is that how do you maintain that and make everyone comfortable, and you become the trusted friends. I call it friends, not ally. Friends to other country. And for the last 50 or 60 years, I think Malaysia very adaptive. We learn from the West. We learn from the best of the East. We learn also the best also from Middle East. That's why many of our scholars study there. But at the same time, when they come back to Malaysia, they create their own activities based on the local, I would say, dynamic. So that's why I think we need more creative leader, be more innovative and adaptive. So I think geopolitically, Malaysia is going to be the best place for everyone.
Malaysians of Indian descent mostly trace their lineage to the southern region of Tamil Nadu. Although they mainly practice Hindu tradition, there's a decent amount of Muslims who also come from southern Indian heritage. I spoke with Mahfouz to learn about their experiences.
Mostly Indian Muslim in Malaysia. We came from the South India to Malaysia, and now most of the Indian Muslim in Malaysia, they more towards very entrepreneur. They own a business in different industries. In educational line, we have been money changer, restaurants, cafe, hotels, and so on.
Can you tell me about what the mama is?
So I think mama, the name itself is called uncle. So that's how the name of mama started. So then now all the mama as an uncle is already established in Malaysia. And people already start to call most of the restaurants as mama restaurants. Yeah.
So it's like you're eating at your uncle's house.
Yes.
Okay. And now it's very popular among the Malaysian people.
Yeah, because we have our 14th state in Malaysia, and each state, even each corner, we have our own mama restaurants. So it's 24 hours.
Wow.
So and in Penang State, they're one of the state in Malaysia. It's called Pulau Pinang. It's very well known for mama restaurant. In each and every corner, they have a mama restaurant, and some started early for 24 hours, some started late at 5 o'clock in the evening, some started 2 o'clock in the morning, and so on. Yes, this is roti canai, and we have our gravy. This is dal, and we have a curry. Curry is a gravy we have fish curries, and this is dal.
Dal?
Yeah. So this is fish curry.
Fish curry,
Yeah. And normally, paratha you can eat 24 hours.
Oh, it's very crispy. So
Yes, it's here.
what's this?
This is the nasi kandar gravy
Okay.
that blend with all the gravies. That you have a fish curry, you have a mutton, squid, and all type of curry. They blend together.
Everything.
Yes.
So it must be like a really strong flavor.
Yeah, you can feel the mutton itself. You can feel the fish curry and so on. Please try it.
Okay, I'll try. Yeah, what's Wow, that's really good.
This is the one they pour in your white rice. The best part, you take away the rice and the gravy together. You need to keep it like 1 to 2 hours to get more gravy, the more flavorful.
Yeah. This is it's not very spicy, but it's so flavorful.
Yes.
It's like shows that, some people are like, if it's not spicy, it doesn't have flavor. It's not true.
Right.
Like this is food. It's very, very flavorful. It's not too spicy.
Yeah, it's not too spicy.
It has a kick to it, but it's not overly powering.
Mahbub is a very famous place, one of the mama shop that famous, that brings you very good nasi kandar, and they're well known for biryani with honey roasted chicken. And normally during Ramadan is full house. Even though every day is a full house,
Every day is full house.
and it's 24 hours is full house, alhamdulillah.
24 hours.
Yes.
Wow.
But during Ramadan, we'll double up. People are queuing up to get this very tasteful roti canai and all the biryanis and so on.
So did they start from humble beginnings?
Yeah. They started very single shop and so on. Now they have 2 rows and they do caterings. They have serve our own prime minister and so on.
Oh wow. This place serves the prime minister.
Yeah, prime minister do came to have a lunch or dinner.
Wow.
Yes.
Tell me about you yourself. Where did you come here? Did you immigrate to Malaysia, or were you born here?
I born here. So my father from India, and my great grandfather started a business in Malaysia from a restaurant background. So then I started with my family and so on. So I started my career with an agency, marketing agency and so on. I built my career in a hospital line, into supplying food to airlines and so on. So now, alhamdulillah, I'm into corporate lines, supplying all type of meats and ingredients and so on. We are from South India. It's called Tanjavur district. Tanjavur district, in my village itself, we have 98% is a Muslims. During Rabiul Awal, during Maulid, is one of the most happening in India itself. They used to preach about Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. They used to go house to house to get together, read Maulid, recite Salawat, and so on. So we bring the same culture into Malaysia. We do it till today. We used to recite Yasin, read Quran. These are the norms things that we do. And we do a lot of zikr, salawat and so on.
There's a lot of Indian influence more in Penang, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Can you tell me about Penang?
Penang is a lovely state. It's a food heaven. So once you enter the Penang, you can see mama shop everywhere. Literally, it's more than maybe
More than Starbucks in America.
I cannot compare. Starbucks is nothing. Maybe I need to compare with the bus stop. So I think most probably it's more than the bus stop itself. So you can see, and every mama restaurant in Penang, we have a different flavor. For the nasi kandar, we have nasi kandar Kapitan, we have nasi kandar Line Clear. We have many restaurants over there. And literally, yeah, is you can enjoy the food. We have rojak, we have nasi kandar, we have paratha, we have what else? You can name anything, they have it. If you ask me about the other cultures like Malay, Chinese, Indian, and so on, we used to hang out together because we don't feel as the race is not above the Malaysians. Malaysian, we unite all the races is under one umbrella. So our unity, because we used to go to schools together, like with all my Chinese, and mostly my friend is Chinese, Indian Muslim and so on. So I don't feel much, and I feel everyone is them is like my brother and sisters. So they help each other, even to hang out, even to go for movie. Even I have one friend, he used to fasting with us, even though he's a Chinese. So that's how we train together. So we don't feel threatened with other religion, and everyone they have their own belief, and we respect, and that's how we grow.
Do you feel yourself you're a Malaysian first?
Yeah, of course. So yeah, I don't feel like they are Chinese, Indians or something. First of all, it's Malaysians. We unite under one umbrella. The racism is everywhere. But personally, I feel I don't see it.
Oh.
Because when you see as a Malaysian, it's a nation.
What is Malaysia doing that is able to bring this feeling of unity among different groups?
I think the main reason itself is our government. The system itself they have. They don't divide them. They make it everyone unite under one. So if you go to school, even though they have a Chinese school, they have an Indian school, and mostly the school is called unity schools. So all other races can learn together. That's how basic is. So the system created by the government is a really good system. And I think it starts from our first Prime Minister, Tunku Abdul Rahman, till today. They uphold the system to make it unity. Yeah.
Did you learn the Malay language?
Yeah, in the school we used to learn Malay language, and personally I know to speak Tamil, but I don't know how to write Tamil. But for me, Malay, I can read, I can read, I can speak, I can write fluently than my Tamil itself.
So Malay is your first language.
Yes.
I guess the story about the Indian Muslim community is entrepreneurs, restaurant owners, businessmen.
Yeah, and now they're very diversified. They're going into banking line. They're going for engineers. They become teachers, and they are now in different industries. Alhamdulillah, it's good.
And so, what do you want to see your kids achieve here in Malaysia?
Alhamdulillah, I want them to be more Malaysians. I want them to have a very diversified friend circle. And I want them to uphold Indian Muslim culture and to be successful in dunya and akhirah, inshallah.
Kuala Lumpur's status as an economic powerhouse has allowed it to be an innovative hub for the fast-growing Islamic economy. Today, KL is the international capital of the Islamic finance industry. I visited Professor Suri Hanim Muhammad, who teaches at the only university in the world dedicated purely to training the next generation of Islamic finance professionals.
It has been established by our central bank, and they make sure we are always up to date with things that been going on in the world. And if you can see, even my other colleagues who are the professor of practice, even right now is the chairman of Bursa, i.e. Kuala Lumpur Stock Exchange. So any issues, he will definitely share it with us. That's a cool thing. Practitioners and academicians come hand in hand to expand this industry. And if you see, it's just not bottom up when it comes to innovation and creativity, but it's also top down. And with that, it's really 2 plus 2 equals to 10.
This institution is sponsored by both the central bank and the Securities Commission, Bank Negara and SC. It's funded by them, and our job or our main aim is to lead the industry, to give some sense of direction, to help a little bit in terms of advocacy, but more importantly, thought leadership. Yeah. So this is previously an old organization which was under the central bank, but now it is carved out into a slightly smaller council and supported by a secretariat. I am the head of the secretariat and the CEO of the company which will harbour the secretariat. And our job right now is we are lesser of advocacy, but more onto R&D, research, thought leadership, on the theme of Halal to Tayyib. Why Halal to Tayyib is this? Obviously, our industry is already halal, because we have scholars who will check that what we serve and how we serve are Sharia compliant. Yeah. But are we tayyib? Are we good? Yeah. That's perhaps where the gaps are. Yeah. So we are looking at that gap right now. How to be tayyib? How to reach the tayyibness, if there's such a word in English. Yeah.
To get to ihsan.
Exactly. Yes.
The Westerners would like to address it that way because they felt that Islamic finance is new, right? So that's why they say it's a new finance, right, versus traditional finance. In reality, Islamic finance is very old. The new Islamic finance is the new development of practical Islamic finance, which is akin or very close and can fit side by side with the conventional finance. That is new. Yeah. If you find some similarity, there are, because at the end the impact is how does it benefit the Ummah, the customers. But more importantly, the contracts and everything all are similar simply because we make it similar to allow it to sit side by side and amalgamate with the bigger structure, which is the traditional finance structure. Yeah, so this can work together. But in terms of growth, you can see that Islamic finance is growing a lot faster. Yeah, hence, even those initially are not interested in Islamic finance are looking at Islamic finance. Hey, what's here? What's new? And is this the way forward? Is this an extra way of making new money? Yeah, these kind of questions are being asked by the Western banks who are actually jumping into the bandwagon. Yeah. So I'm looking at the business point of view of this dichotomy, right? Perhaps the nitty-gritty you can pass to the the current academician.
So what's the difference? For me, the difference is simple. One takes up payment as interest or riba, and the other doesn't. But as mentioned by my friend, how the product of Islamic was created to be similar but not the same. Okay, with the traditional product, is because people are comfortable and familiar with that traditional product. If you make a product that is not similar, because at the end of the day, the end result is the same, you will just be making more. It will be more challenges for people to take it up. Okay, so Islamic product, for one thing, it have to be utilized for productive purposes, right? And which is good. If you cannot identify as productive, i.e., just for general investment, then that's it. There is no way for you to go into Islamic. Okay, and we can see actually by taking Islamic financing, a lot more things need to be disclosed. To some, because of that, it will cost a lot more. But isn't that good? You become more transparent and people are more comfortable, and it makes them, because of their comfortable and you're being transparent, confidence are higher. Then everything that you need, to keep by your own. I mean, not to disclose things. So for me, that is a difference. But some people say, it's the same. Whether it's traditional Islamic, it's the same. Yeah, it is. The end result is the same. As an analogy, because I worked with a Japanese bank before, and they keep saying, what's the difference? Because end result is different. If I want 100K, it will still be 100K, I said, true. But it's just like the analogy I take is actually fried chicken. You want to eat fried chicken, whether it's halal or haram chicken, end result is the same. It's fried chicken. So you go back to the process, i.e., how the chicken has been slaughtered. Then what are the ingredients that you put it in? It has to be halal.
Yeah.
Well, on that, the non-halal one, right, you might be pouring some beer to make it more crust, those kind of thing. So you have to see, yes, it end up, you have fried chicken, but one is halal and one is not, and it's up to you to choose.
Yeah.
So that will be, and with that analogy, only my Japanese colleague understood.
It's very difficult for a customer of, we live in a conventional world. Yeah. For a conventional customer to come to an Islamic bank and I would like to ask for a loan, and the bank say, we don't give loans. We invest in your house. We invest in your businesses. They will just say, I don't need investors. I want money. Right? So the concept is very different.
For me, they really have to think back. What's the purpose of it? By looking at the purpose, you know already. Okay? We once, but this was a long time ago, an organization is well known. It became like, they actually took some of the financing that they take, but it's not by Islamic, for speculation purposes. And it can be detected by any Islamic bankers on that. And he will not get a financing from an Islamic bank if that is the activities he wants to do. And he knows it very well, though. That's why he went to traditional banking. Because not much, you see, if you apply a financing from Islam, we will investigate deeper until we are comfortable and with your answers that this is for productive purposes and is Sharia compliant, full stop. We will not do further checkup on it, like giving you empty hopes that you will get. By looking at it, you say, no, it's still no. Isn't that good?
Kuala Lumpur is an amazing city with great food, nice people, beautiful masajid, and inspiring multiculturalism. This part of the world doesn't always get into the headlines, but it's worth paying attention to. I really believe that the rest of the Muslim world can take some inspiration from Malaysia, and we should definitely work to building a stronger connection between all the countries that share the beautiful religion of Islam.
Everybody point at the soccer ball.
I love soccer ball. I love.
I love soccer ball.
Okay. When I say 1, 2, 3, you all go like.
Jago.
3, 2, 1. Alright, thank you.